like a man who dresses for clamming.
Welcome to What the Hell Happened to Them? Julia Roberts marches onward. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me this week is Jumanji Joe Vekeman.
Jumanji? I thought we were out of that, bog.
Yeah, Robert Williams style.
Yeah, hi.
And of course, on the audio boards is Lev Van Rensselaer, reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothemcast@gmail.com. Got any tips on how to beat the heat now that we're approaching summertime? Put those tips in an email to us and we'll read them on air. And of course, our sponsor this week is Debbie Downer. Drinking too much caffeine in your day? Can't get those jitters out of your system? Debbie Downer, the anti-caffeine agent. All right, Joe, what movie are we doing this week?
Sleeping with the Enemy from 1991.
Yes, the most PG slasher film you will ever find.
Do you know what? I think they're remaking this.
Oh my goodness! I was thinking during the movie. I'm like, I would, I have to imagine there's a remake, but I think Joe would have told me because he told me about the Flatliners remake.
Yeah. This one, it's not even started yet. I think it's just in development.
Okay.
Because I found it on Letterboxd. It could just be fake. Someone could just be like, oh, this person should do it. But Nia DaCosta, who's like stars rising in Hollywood right now, she's got the Candyman remake that she made last year, but it's coming out in August now because of the pandemic.
Sure.
Yeah, she's attached to direct it. And I think she's also doing the next Captain Marvel movie now. So I'm just
whatever.
These poor directors, these poor fucking... Please, Patrick, for the love of God, don't direct a Marvel. Don't direct a Marvel.
Is this the director who did I Am Not Your Witch?
Nia DaCosta? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I thought her first movie was going to be the Candyman remake, which looked really cool.
Yeah, I like that they're kind of referencing the Philip Glass score, which was the best part of the original movie. Didn't they already remake this movie with Jennifer Lopez? Wasn't Enough basically the same movie?
Did we talk about this?
We talked about the last, early on, we were like, Julia Roberts and Jennifer Lopez have a similar
it
career.
Seems like Julia Roberts' career was just mirrored in the early 2000s by Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. Why don't we dive into a plot synopsis of this film?
A young woman fakes her own death in an attempt to escape her nightmarish marriage, but discovers it is impossible to elude her controlling husband.
Might this be the biggest budgeted Lifetime movie ever made?
What's the... you know what the budget is already? Oh, shit.
No, I have no... I'm just assuming since it was like an actual Hollywood movie that was put into theaters, I'm just being tongue-in-cheek here. But I'm surprised this movie didn't premiere on Lifetime.
Let me ask you something. Have you heard of any of the other stars in this movie? And we'll put stars around them, quote unquote stars around them.
Well, there's 3 people, 3.5 people that are in this movie.
Yeah. You brought up the budget already. 19 million for this budget. Where is it?
I buy that.
You really? 19 million?
Where is it?
Is it just Julia?
Or you think that's too high?
Yeah, it's very high, but it doesn't matter because it made $175 million.
Yeah, I knew I heard this movie, so my thought was it had to have been successful.
Very successful. Holy shit. Oh my God. It grossed $13 million on its opening weekend. Oh, listen to this. The film broke the record at the time for the highest domestic opening for a female-centric film, with $13 million on its opening weekend, surpassing the previous record held by Alien, which grossed $10 million.
That was 20 years earlier. 10 years earlier. When did that movie come out? 79?
79, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a decade earlier. I don't know. Some inflation must have happened there.
Yeah.
Both great movies. Well,
one's a classic.
I don't know why I said that about Sleeping with the Enemy. It's not a bad movie, right? This isn't, and they do some weird things. The director, especially when doing scenes with the husband, is pulling out all the horror stops.
Yeah.
Right? He's got like just these lingering slow push-ins. He's got a snorri cam for some reason.
Yeah.
This is interesting kind of like lighting being done. So like, I don't know, effort was put into this movie. And the other credit I'll give this movie is like every time I went to pause it, it was like 20 minutes further along than I thought it would be.
Yes, no, it's, yeah.
So I'm like, this
great
movie,
pacing.
for a 100-minute movie, like we're flying through
Yeah.
this, especially since it felt like nothing really happened a lot of the time. Like, I don't know how we were getting along so quickly.
Let me ask you something. When it's time to get down, when it's Patrick's time to get down. Now, I'm not trying to be too crazy here, but just hear me out.
Yeah.
When it's time to get down, is your go-to song the opening theme from The Shining?
Yeah, that was, I won't lie. I'm only kind of like half paying attention, at the beginning of this movie. I'm like eating dinner. I'm just like, all right, what is this movie going to be? Some dumb romance thing? And then immediately they make love. They make love to the theme from The Shining. And I think it's technically the symphony that the theme to The Shining is based off of. But like, I was just thinking, what? Why is this your romance music? And I'll tell you why it's their romance music. It is purely to set up the climactic scene.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. It was great.
Where he decides, he's like, hey, you know what? My music is fucking creepy. Let me put it on a boombox.
Yeah, I'm back.
At the bottom of the stairs to really freak her out.
I'm just...
Like, did he know The Shining had come out 10 years earlier?
He had to. He's like, this is my
know?
favorite movie. And he probably makes her rewatch it, but like makes her sit in a chair a specific way. I have a story with this movie because I had only heard of it because okay. We're in a judgment-free zone, but after it, just judge away. So
sounds good.
I'm back when I lived with my grandma, and my aunt had moved in with us. And my aunt likes things in the house a very specific way. Just like how this guy with the jars, like they need to be all like the labels need to be facing a certain way. The bath towels have to be at a certain height. That was her to a T. But the way she told us that's the way she wants things in the house was she sat both me and my grandmother down in the living room, looked for this movie on demand, found out that it wasn't on demand, purchased the movie for $15 and then fast forwarded to the scene where, and I'm like, you could have just told us this. But she fast forwarded to the scene where like Julia Roberts has to fix everything like to the specific way he wants it. And I'm like, okay, you're more psychotic than the guy in the movie. And I just held my tongue and I was like, okay, yep. And then I was kicked out within like 3 months of that scene taking place.
What a wild jump scare that she like opens up a cabinet and like all the cans are rearranged nicely and we're supposed to be like, you know,
at the end, yeah.
But to Julia Roberts' credit, I'd expected this kind of like scream queen, kind of like, but instead it's this much more reserved and subdued, like just sort of like slowly washing over her. A much better direction to go in.
Yeah. Have you heard of Joseph Rubin before? He's the director.
No. What else has he done?
Well, Joseph Rubin here, 71 years old, still kicking. He's still active.
Still?
That's what it says.
Still active, but hasn't made a movie in 10 years?
He made The Stepfather. I've heard of that. His follow-up to this movie is a movie I saw when I was way too young, and it really fucked me up. It stars Macaulay Culkin. It's called The Good Son.
Yeah, I've not heard
You've
of that
never
movie.
heard of The Good Son?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay, so...
Sequel to Richie Rich?
I think it's the year before Richie Rich, which is weird, right?
Oh, man. Okay.
So Macaulay Culkin, I don't remember the particulars of the movie, but he and Elijah Wood, I don't know if they're related, but Elijah Wood is like at the house, or Macaulay Culkin goes to the house. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been 20 years since I've seen this movie, but Macaulay Culkin is like just the most terrorizing child. And like they were like, oh, the kid from Home Alone, he does this well, but it's like it's a horror movie now, and he's like trying to kill Elijah Wood and throw him off a cliff, and he gets mad at him for like taking his mom away, just because he like has a little more attention. And I'm like, oh my god! And like they're like throwing things off a bridge and like hitting cars and like causing accidents, and I'm like, and he's like trying to corrupt Elijah Wood, and Elijah Wood's like, no, and he's like the sweet little innocent kid from Flipper.
So, I mean, it sounds like this guy has a milieu of like domestic,
the stepfather, the good son,
squabbles
sleeping with the enemy.
All these sound like Lifetime movies to me.
He followed The Good Son up with Money Train, starring Wesley Snipes, Woody Harrelson, and Jennifer Lopez. This movie looks
Jennifer
like fun.
Lopez.
Yeah, I know.
Look at that.
Bringing it back.
She's just like, if I could only be 75% of Julia Roberts, my life is made.
Have you seen The Forgotten with Julianne Moore?
No.
Oh, that was like a eighth grade or like high school movie. It came out in 2004. I watched that, and that's one of the movies that I realized that movies can be bad. Like, oh, everything's not good all the time. Yeah, but he directed that too. So yeah, he's made movies. The last one he made was 2017. Yeah, still working. Crazy. 71 years old.
What was that movie?
The Ottoman Lieutenant, Turkish American romantic war drama film starring Josh Hartnett and Ben Kingsley.
I'd be interested just to see what that would be like. What is a Turkish American war movie, a war romance about?
The box office for that one was 240,000.
Yeah, I bet it played in like 4 theaters.
Yeah, if that.
I mean, that's a hard thing to market by itself. Who wants to see a Turkish American?
No, that's one of the ones that no one's asking for.
Yeah. All right. The first, I just want real quick. The first thing that stood out to me in this movie was the composer's Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Big deal composer for this movie. And I go, oh, maybe this movie is legitimate. I don't know. He did like Omen and a Star Trek movie, I think, and Rambo.
Hell yeah.
Like this guy, big deal. And the score, I wouldn't call it great, but it really worked for the movie. Mm-hmm. Like you could have gone really sentimental or seepy or kind of like very traditional with it, but he found like a weird space for this kind of score to exist in, but still give us the feelings we want to. So, there's a master at work here.
It's just like the movie tells you right from the beginning when she's at the beach and she's like, what's she looking for? Like seashells or something?
Clams.
Yeah.
We're in New England, baby. Yeah. We go clam digging.
And then like, I think she like gives him a hug or something and she gets like sand on his outfit or his dress pants or whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like she like quickly is like, dude's out here on the beach. Like that's his problem. And I'm like, oh no, this is a problem. And she needs to get out of here. Like I already know what's going on. So great setup. I loved it.
Yeah. This was the part I was half paying attention to. So, and like the music is playing over the credits. And I think, what am I supposed to be feeling here? This is like, I really thought this was going to be like a romance movie. Yeah. Despite the very descriptive title. And so like this weird music came on and I go like, oh, this is an odd key for this music to be in for a romance film. But I'm half paying attention. She's digging up clams. They clearly are not on that beach most of the time. And then I got drawn in by when they make love to the Shining theme for the first time. And now I'm paying attention, and then I see her like fixing the towels in the bathroom. And then he sort of like, towels aren't clean. And then he punches her in the face. And I go, whoa, how do we get into this movie?
It's just
but
so...
You're probably right. They probably set it up right away, and I just missed it.
Yeah, that is just... Yeah, definitely... Like, okay, I get he's like OCD, but like when he's like physically abusing her, I'm like, okay, get out now. And I'm like, why are you still here? Like, enough is enough. You should have been gone a long time ago.
Well, she had a good plan. Yeah. She had a plan.
Yeah, go to the YMCA. What was a
secretly
YWCA?
Go to the YMCA when you think that I'm working, which was a job you barely allowed me to have. This main guy, her husband, by the way, is like Tom Selleck understudy.
What's his name? That fucking mustache, right?
But like, yeah, so the second time they have this
Patrick Bergen
Shining theme playing during the love scene, like it's like one camera and it's like doing this Evil Dead thing. It's just kind of like swirling around the room.
Yeah.
And I go, all right, we're pulling out some stops here. I can see why he might still be working. But then they mentioned that they're from Boston. I don't buy it because nobody sounds like they're from The Departed.
Yeah, no. Well, it's a little more subtle. But then she goes, she like gets out, she like fakes her death by like drowning in the ocean, right?
Yes.
And then she's, what happens next? Like she
So then she takes a bus.
Yeah, she takes a bus.
And like we're like 18 minutes into the movie, but but she's giving us the whole plot recap. We're like, yes, I just saw this, Julia Roberts. We can move on here.
Where does she go though? She goes to like a friend's house?
No, she goes straight to like, I don't know. The neighbor alludes to it as like the heartland. So I imagine she's like in Iowa or something. Right? So she takes that bus far, decides to leave behind. She cuts her hair.
Oh, yeah.
She cuts her hair, wears a wig, but then like her hair's long again, or right later on. Her hair's not like big like we've seen before. It's
straightened.
Not gigantic, but there's still a lot of it. Like it's very Andy McDowell-esque.
Yes.
So, there's
that's the hair segment.
Her husband, Tom Selleck understudy, so lifetime evil. I kept waiting for him to twirl the mustache as he's like, "You're not allowed to go to work."
I don't think it was that. It didn't have that much like length on the sides. It was very.
I can't believe you went to your mother's funeral without me.
When she sees the guy, like the neighbor guy outside the window, and he's does he have like a hose?
Yeah, he's like watering his lawn.
Yeah, but is he doing West Side Story?
He's doing West Side Story. He's doing, which is like
the whole thing, though. The whole opening to West Side Story.
He's doing the whole Jet song, and I wonder, like if anybody would, is that like a reference? If anyone was watching this film now, is that a reference they would get?
Well, they might, because Steven Spielberg's got the West Side Story remake coming out this year.
Oh, he finally got it done.
Yeah,
the remake no one was asking for,
with Ansel Elgort. A canceled man, I believe. So good luck putting that fucking movie out now.
Maybe they'll digitally replace him like that Kevin Spacey thing.
Oh, God. If they replaced him with... Fuck, what is his name? Who'd they replace? That actor? Is he still alive?
Christopher Plummer? I think he just died. I think like 3 weeks ago he died.
What if they replaced him with James Dean?
Yeah.
That's finally how they use James Dean.
I want them to replace him with like another actor that in a year gets canceled, and then we have to do like this George Lucas, like forever digitally altering our films because everybody just keeps getting canceled.
I'm just whatever.
That'd be amusing.
Do you think that movie's gonna do well?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is anyone asking for a West Side Story remake?
No, but
wasn't the first one just winning all the awards anyways? Did it win Best Picture?
Yeah, it'd be like remaking Titanic. Like, why would you do that?
That's a little more soon, wouldn't it?
But there's a reason nobody's remaking Casablanca, because everybody's like, you can't do better than that.
Yeah,
why do we think we can do better than the West Side Story? I don't understand.
Oh my God.
Spielberg.
It's Spielberg. Is it like, yeah, sure, probably I wanted to do this, dude. Do this in your backyard.
Yeah,
you got kids. Just make them do it.
Well, here's my complaint about Spielberg. Like he's clearly a good director, but I think there's a level of overrate with him, because for every Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, there's 10 movies he's made that we've never heard of or that we will very quickly forget about.
I liked Bridge of Spies. I'm not saying it's the best movie,
that's a movie that nobody will remember in 15 years. Or The Post. Or BFG. I'm not
saying I'm dying to rewatch it, but
so you watch it, you go, "Oh, that was nice," because it is a well-made movie, but there's nothing exciting about it.
No, and the trailer made it look even more boring.
You leave. Yeah, that's it. The end. Right. So, at the end of the day, I think with Steven Spielberg, we're gonna remember 10 to 12 of his films, but he's got 60.
Yeah, he's got a lot. So don't you think that with the clout that fucking Steven Spielberg would have, don't you think he should make something original or do something more interesting than doing a remake of a movie that already won all the awards and everyone thinks is a classic already? What is the point of it? We were talking about this before we started. Why? What are we doing? What, his name is the star of the show. You don't even need to have big actors in it. He can make whatever he wants to make. Why does he want to? I don't get it.
Yeah, I guess he just, he and Michael Bay really, really love West Side Story. So he's like, I want to do it myself. But I would never want to remake.
Michael Bay's not producing that, is he?
No. Just they're both really big fans of like Michael Bay's biggest inspiration is West Side Story. I mean, crazy to think about. I would never want to remake Solaris, which I know already was done.
Steven Soderbergh.
Soderbergh, yeah. Or Stalker, like any of these Andrei Tarkovsky films, I would never want to redo because there's no point.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like these are already... So, like, if you really love West Side Story that much, it must be a really, really good movie. Leave it alone.
I don't feel like you can change that much because there are songs and they're already written. So
yeah, you've got to keep the songs or people will be mad.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
Seems like a waste of everyone's time.
I know, but that's all Hollywood wants to do is waste all our time.
I'm just sad. I go see these movies in the theater and I'm like, oh, I had a good time. And then I never think about them again.
Yeah, there's a lot of forgettable movies out there.
Like, I just saw the new Conjuring. I'm like, it was fine. I was hoping for like them to keep some of the James Wan aesthetic, like a way he moves the camera. But the fucking new guy they got, whew, it's such a dip in quality. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, just lazy.
I don't know. Well, James Wan now, it's like now he's making new Aquaman. He's doing Aquaman 2.
He's cashing in.
Yeah,
understandable.
But hold on, did you see Aquaman?
No,
I don't know why you would have.
Yes,
it's also way too long, and I watched it in IMAX twice. I had one of the best times in a theater. The movie is just so out there. I don't know what lore it's coming from. Sure, the comic books, but I can't believe like they would ever let this guy make a movie this fucking weird. It's just so. Julie Andrews plays an enormous crab the size of like 10 skyscrapers.
I am surprised she's still alive.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be able to really tell it's her until she starts talking because she's an animated crab.
Does she sing a little tune?
No, she's just like, I'm evil.
I feel Shelley. Oh, so Shelley. I'm a crustacean. No, that's a different song. That's West Side Story.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
I love it.
The hills are alive with the sounds of crabs.
There we go. Punched it up. It's we can circle back because
who's asking for Julie Andrews crap? Like, that's your big name get is Julie Andrews?
No, absolutely not. This movie is stacked cast. You got Nicole Kidman playing Aquaman's mom, and then you have Willem Dafoe playing Aquaman's teacher.
His teacher,
and he's great in it.
Teacher, he goes to Aquaman school.
Flowing hair, and it's incredible.
I wish Willem Dafoe got to reprise his role from Steve Zissou.
Ah, yes.
Right, like Aquaman gets fished up on a boat, and it's like Willem Dafoe in the orange hat.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
It's good stuff. I mean, I got to revisit that one soon. I'm going back and watching the Wes Andersons that I really don't remember.
That that you wish weren't always on the Criterion.
Well, I didn't really like Isle of Dogs. I watched it and I tried watching it again. I'm like, I don't know. I liked Grand Budapest Hotel after I watched that. That's
that one was all right. I didn't like Isle of Dogs either. It was very for a movie about talking dogs in a trash island in Japan. It felt very generic.
Yeah,
and just like, oh, we're doing all the stuff. Oh, we're done. Okay, time to go.
Yeah, because like at least Fantastic Mr. Fox had a lot of charm with it.
Yeah, or like there's just I don't know. It's like a weird. Like there's nothing. Despite it being a weird world, it didn't feel like a very imaginative. I don't know. Maybe we didn't explore it well, or like I don't know. But like Moonrise Kingdom, and
there was a lot of dog romance in it. So yeah, I didn't need that.
That's fine. I'm not anti-dog romance, but like I don't know. The other Budapest Hotel, like they're all in like a weird thing, and this is just like dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so right, she lands in Iowa. She gets the first apartment she finds, which is not a good tactic, right? But then like she has to like fix it all up. Isn't that the landlord's job? Why are you painting and redecorating? Like, I don't understand. Be like, landlord, your house is shitty and dusty.
And and also the neighbor comes in like really quickly, it feels like.
Who has the weirdest performance? Like, I don't know what he's trying to do, but it's only creepy.
He has... Okay, I don't know if you know the actor William Peterson.
Nope.
He's in the Michael Mann Manhunter movie. He's the star of it. You ever see that?
Oh, the with Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, with Brian Cox as Hannibal Lecter.
So like that, like if I were teaching acting, I would show
That?
Red Dragon and Manhunter. Like
Yes.
just those scenes, because it's so.
The one scene that Brian Cox is in, it's amazing.
He's so. It's such a boring performance.
Oh, I completely disagree.
Do I believe it? Sure. Is it as generic as all hell? Yes.
Oh, I don't. I disagree completely.
No.
I loved it. It's so different from Anthony Hopkins.
It is different, but Anthony Hopkins like brought some imagination and life to it, and this guy's just like, I'm doing a play.
I like that. I don't know. I like Brian Cox.
The only thing I like about that movie is like the end of it, like this weird 20-minute Inagata Devita.
Oh yeah, with Tom Noonan
fight thing. Like it goes on forever, but like at that, I'm like, all right, let's see what you can do here.
Yeah, I mean, Joan Allen. I think that's one of her first movies. She's very young in it.
Yeah.
And she's a blind woman like petting a tiger. Do you remember that whole scene?
Yeah, the movie. You know, the thing I'll give the movie is it's fucking weird.
Yes,
I'm very okay with that. So like the movie and Julia Roberts want us to think he's being like flirty and charming, but it doesn't feel like that's coming across. So I don't know what the director or the actor were trying to
you weren't into
give
it.
us there.
I thought he was serviceable.
And then but she's like afraid of him for a bit because she's, you know, very obvious, very rightly so paranoid.
Yes,
but
and
then
traumatized.
Yeah, she sees him like at a parade and he's got like just some baby on his shoulders. And I'm like, whose baby is this? And then he sees her and like gives the baby to somebody. Hopefully they own the baby. And then like he just walks on over to her.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, clearly the movie's supposed to be like, see, look, he's a good guy. He'd be a good dad. Kids like him.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, he stole a baby.
No,
not a good guy.
You're just showing how lovable he is.
Yes.
Anyone would give him their baby.
And then, of course, you have a costume montage, and that cheers her up, and then instantly they're in love.
This is what I wanted from Pretty Woman. I wanted the costume montage.
It's too much and too easy.
With a fun song.
It's just like you have this is a sort of this domestic abuse, sort of a big problem, and the monster leaves on its victims, and this movie's just like, nope, it's fixed. She can love again.
Yeah, she's fine.
It just took a week. The end.
As soon as the guy comes back, she's like dials back in.
Yeah,
it's
so
like two movies.
You know that was well. That's sort of like yes. That's what I'm saying. Like PG slasher, because there's a lot of him like trying to find her and then like finding her and then watching her.
When he goes to visit her mother, in the nursing home, that I just don't like old people being manipulated like that. It really upsets me. So I didn't like that. No, it was effective though.
Well, I don't think we're meant to like it, so that's good, Joe.
Yeah. Well, we're not
supposed to be like, yeah, guy, you go get her.
Well,
get
sometimes
your woman
old
back.
people like they can be a little annoying, but this old lady looks so fragile. They got the most fragile looking old lady.
He tricks Julia Roberts' mother into spilling the beans on where Julia Roberts is.
I know. The whole time I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
To which I thought, you know, the lesson here is to trust no one ever, not even your own mother. Ever, everybody will spill the beans.
Yeah.
Those beans getting spilt all over the floor. When she went and to go visit her mother, she has to go in a disguise as a man. I was so hoping.
The mustache.
No, she has. So we only get like a close up of the mustache and like her lower face. So I was hoping then when we cut to her in a wide when she was at the place, like she would be played by an actual man.
Oh,
like that's how
great.
convincing this disguise is. Like they get a guy that kind of looks like her to be like, hey, I'm Julia Roberts still.
Well, that'd be weird if she said, "Hey, I'm Julia Roberts."
Hey, I'm Julia. And then, like, she gets into her mother's room and the guy pretends to start pulling off the mustache, and then we cut back to her, and like it's Julia Roberts taking off the clearly fake mustache.
Are you asking for like a Mission Impossible level, like?
Yes, that would be fantastic. Do that in the remake, development people.
Yeah. Can you name Julia Roberts' character in this?
Certainly not. No. I couldn't name The Rock's characters in a lot of his movies or Adam Sandler's. Like, she's just Julia Roberts to me.
No. Adam Sandler makes it so fucking easy for you. Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
Bulletproof.
Yeah.
There we go. I got you.
Yes, and the movies were like Sandy Wexler, where his character is the name of the movie. Very easy. But the week of, I don't know, Sam Sandler and Chris Rock. Problem solved.
I didn't like that movie. I'll rewatch it.
I'm very okay with that movie. I got no beef with the week of. Yeah, so, but like in that hospital scene where she visits her mother, you get kind of like this thriller chase scene that neither character knows they're a part of.
Yeah.
But that was actually kind of interesting. There's some interesting bits to prop up your movie that is a lot of romance in your thriller film.
It felt like you could definitely feel like the 3-act structure, right? First,
yeah.
she gets out.
It's
Second
here.
act, she's trying to make a normal life. Third act, she's haunted again.
Yeah. Very short third act.
Yes.
Which is another reason why, like at one point I paused it and I went, there's only 12 minutes of this movie left?
Yeah.
Like as like he's
dense.
about to find her in the house and we do like the spying through the window, the right? And he like, so she shoots him. And then, like, she's like, oh, it's done. And he even comes back to life briefly.
Oh,
in
yeah.
true Jason Voorhees style.
It reminds
we
me of
really
Scream.
are in a PG slasher film.
Do you think this is where where Scream was just like, oh, when he comes back for one more scare?
I mean, it's every movie. Like,
But like this is like
Mike
it's
Myers.
like so blatant. Like they didn't even like try. He's just like
Yeah, but and more like you were just shot 3 times and that you're dead, dude.
Yeah.
This climactic scene. So what I was afraid was going to happen was that like he would the love interest would like bust in and like beat him up, and Julia Roberts like, oh, thank you. But she actually gets to, like, he comes in and, like, instantly is knocked out. So then Julia Roberts has to handle it. But it's, like, also such a very easy climactic scene that it feels she does the thing I want her to do, but, like, it was just, like, she just, like, kicks him in the nuts, gets the gun, and then, like, just shoots him.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, that was
Badass.
Very easy. For watching this man chase her down for an hour, it's just like, boom, you're dead. And, like, it's over.
Yeah. I agree.
See, I would have found a way to stretch that out, have that be more of a struggle. You did such good with kind of this tension stuff earlier in the film. I think you could have done something where like he's chasing her around the house, or like they keep swapping who owns the gun, and like they have to get creative in how they do it. Maybe Julia Roberts wasn't ready for like that action kind of thing, or maybe like he was like, no, it's only going to be 100 minutes, or maybe like in the book, like it is just goes that simple, but over pages we get to like be in her headspace and like eat up a lot of time that way.
Let me punch it up for you. So she's got a cleaver instead of a gun, and she just he's chasing her around, and then he puts his hand on the door and she cuts off his hand, and so he's like and then he's like chasing around with like his stub, and then she cuts off the rest of his arm. You see, like and then he bangs on the door and he falls on the ground, and then she just takes off his foot. He's like, and she's like slowly chopping him up. And it's
I don't want this to be a Tarantino film. I just would like a little more struggle.
All right.
Than just like her. Like he's just like, you're not going to shoot me. And all the time I'm like, she's totally going to shoot. Like I never not think she's going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason that she wouldn't. So I don't know. But like I guess you do get this neat moment where she's like, I've just recently shot an intruder. And then you're like, you get like that oh shit moment on the guy. And then like she shoots him. But I would build up to that more. Also, if she's got to dial that on a phone in 1991 with one hand, that's so much harder because it's a rotary phone. Right? So she has to actually kind of like look at it and make sure she's getting her finger in the right knobs.
Well, is it just 911? You just reach to the back, you do and then you do the first one, right?
Yeah, and then she's got to wait for it to come all the way back down so she can do the ones.
Yeah.
Like that's tension.
That's
gotta suck.
That's tension, baby. Now we're cooking.
Yeah, finally some tension in this climactic scene. Yes, thank goodness.
I don't know. 95 minutes. I can't hate it too much.
The smoke detector in this movie, very odd sound it makes.
I don't even remember what.
Right? Like, at least all the smoke detectors I've had are like, beep, 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 beep. And you're like, oh, okay. But this one was like,
I like the sound
Is that
effects.
what they do? Is that what the goal is? But, she knew what it meant, so that was okay. And then, of course, the last shot. Clearly, Zales had paid for it. As we linger on this shining, glittering ring for reasons I can't fully understand.
Okay.
What I also liked about this movie was that it had 2 minutes of credits. 2.
Yes.
Now that we live in an age where it's like 9 minutes of credits, so happy that we were just like in and out of those credits. It's like, here you go, there you go. And then like, we're done.
Yeah.
But as for a movie, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not awesome. It's not great, but fine. I didn't mind watching it. I didn't hate it.
Which is all you can ask these days.
All I can ask for when we do this show is to not hate it. And if you happen to love it or even like it, that's a bonus.
Yeah. So good times. I didn't hate it. Short, can't complain.
Short, sweet, to the point.
Is that your last looks?
Sounds good to me. Last looks, I mean, like, Julia Roberts, very fortunate here to have 2 runaway hits.
Hell yeah. Was it
Pretty much
175
back to back. I know Flatliners is in there a little bit, but Runaway Bride, so successful in long term.
Pretty Woman.
That
jumping the gun.
Pretty Woman, so successful in long term that like you could very easily just forget Flatliners ever happened.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Why does she take this role? Well, another starring role. Apparently, there were very few female-centric movies.
Yeah,
so,
she broke a record.
So why not take that when you get the chance? Again, like sort of these 3 movies all in 91, all very different from each other.
Very different.
You know? Like different tones, different acting styles she had to bring. She's showing off her range. She does okay in this movie. But it's not her fault. It's just not a very well-written script. For a movie that's female-centric, it's not like a greatly written female character. And also fails the Bechdel test.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it written by just the dude?
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's based off of a book. But like, some dude wrote it.
Well, they could have gotten a woman to write it for her.
I guess that's true. But like, if the book's just, I don't know, like the book screams to me of like airport pulp paperback novel, you know, and then like you buy it and you're like, you turn the page and then you finish the book and then you never think about it again.
Like The Girl on the Train.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. See, that's a movie I forgot
I don't know
about.
if you heard of that one.
I had. Yeah.
So next week, we'll be watching 1991's Dying Young.
Yeah, I've not heard of this movie.
Neither have I, but can I just give you a couple of people in the cast?
Yeah, okay.
So Julia Roberts and Campbell Scott are the 2 stars.
Okay.
And you got co-starring.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, hey, all right. An actor.
Ellen Burstyn.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then bringing back good old Joel Schumacher for the director. So, she likes him.
She really liked doing Flatliners and having no major consequence on that movie.
Yeah.
And and then maybe he was like, hey, listen, I've got a better part for you this time. I'm sorry about Flatliners. And she goes, okay.
Yeah. So that'll be next week. I love it.
All right, well, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Debbie Downer. If you're having problems with your caffeine addiction, Debbie Downer has got your back. And I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer, the audio maven that we are craving, helping us sound so slippery smooth. And of course, I'd like to thank my co-host, Joe Vekeman, for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And I am your host, Patrick Scale. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com. And now all of our audio-related projects, including our podcasts, are available on our sister station, Quixotic Harmonics, on YouTube. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
First, I just want to talk about how I've been around a lot of like college-age kids recently.
Training
some film things. It is so isolating. It's like they're in an entirely different world.
Do they feel like they have so much energy and you're like, where are you getting this all from?
I mean, there's that, but like anytime I try to reference something, like it just feels like the only culture they're interested in is in like the last 15 years. And anything that was made or, I don't know, decade defining before then, they've never heard of. It's just, it doesn't exist.
And you know what we can blame for that?
Who? Every
fucking thing that's been going on for the last like 5 or 6 years. How it's just like, let's remake the thing from 10 years ago. Because it's the nostalgia porn is disgusting. I'm so sick of the 90s, the 80s. What happened to the 70s? Do they know that the 70s is like the greatest decade, and then we should really not remake anything, but like look at how things were made back then and try to replicate how they were made and not remake them? It's so easy. I'm saying, I'm watching all these Altman movies, and I'm like,
yeah,
Three Women. Have you seen Three Women by Robert Altman?
No.
With Shelley Duvall and Sissy Spacek.
Of course, Shelley Duvall is in this.
Oh
movie.
No, she's not in all of them though. She's only in like half of the ones. 70s. Out of the 15, I think she's in 7 of them. So she didn't make it into all of them. He made a movie like every like 6 months in the 70s. It's an incredible
basically
run.
The Shakespeare of the 70s.
Then when he wrote Three Women, he's just like, my wife was really sick, and I had a dream that I just wanted to make a picture with Shelley Duvall. I'm like, yeah, you've been doing that a lot. It's just about like mistaken identity and stuff like that, and it's just like this really like dreamy like fucking world, and I'm like, it's so much fun to be in the world he's making, and I'm like, and it's not based on any fucking intellectual property, and I'm like, this is just coming from a man's head. What happened to that? You don't need to give him tons of money.
Now it's an arms race now, especially with Fox being bought. Like, for the first time in like 70 years, we don't have 6 major studios. And like everybody's just afraid of who's going to be next. I think Universal's trying to buy Warner Brothers. Like, it's just getting crazy.
Sony's a big one now too, right? That's one of the major ones.
Yeah, Sony was always there. Sony, Columbia, Universal,
Columbia,
Universal, Paramount.
What is happening?
Yeah.
It's the streaming thing, right? When streaming became a thing, that's when this industry will collapse in on itself. I am so happy that I'm able to find certain things that I wouldn't be able to find before. It's not like that anymore. It kind of died off very quickly because the movies that I'm interested in, they're like, well, we don't need the rights to these because no one cares about these. I'm like, well, I do.
I know.
And even like on the Criterion, like I found some really cool movies that I didn't hear, like have never heard of. But I'm like, also, they don't have the whole fucking Criterion collection on there. They only have little bits of it. And I'm like, okay. So like certain ones that are out of print, you can't find those anywhere.
Yeah, very annoying. I think, I don't know, like I said, at a certain point, you're going to run out of the important IP. Like, even with Amazon spending all that money on what's probably going to amount to worthless IP, like at a certain point, somebody's going to spend too much on stuff. They're either going to go bankrupt or they're going to have a hard time financially recovering, and then everybody might finally be like, whoa, let's slow down. We had a similar problem with spec scripts at the beginning of the millennium. They were all spending like $1 million on spec scripts, and at a certain point, they all kind of got together in a room and they're like, okay, guys, we got to stop doing this. Let's stop going so crazy on these bids, shall we? And you know what else I'm sick of in these remakes? I'm sick of everybody just being like, what's an old movie, and how do we give it Stranger Things vibe?
This Ghostbusters movie?
I'm done with that. Ghostbusters, It. Like we got to stop.
I know you didn't like the first It that much, but I felt like that one just had a little bit, like it had an atmosphere that I really liked. Not the Stranger Things. No, because it was way more hardcore than Stranger Things. There was a lot more like violence in it, like the kid's fucking arm being ripped off. They don't do that in Stranger Things. The second one, did you ever watch the second part?
Yeah, I watched them both, Joe.
Wow,
I'm an idiot.
That second one is such a drop off in quality and just so much bloat and I hated it. It was a boring mess.
Yes, my problem with the first one is it's too fun to be scary and not scary enough to be fun. So I don't know what you want me to experience in this movie, but I'm not. I'm just like,
yeah, no, I know what
kids on bikes running around, great, awesome.
I think I liked the characters they were introducing. Like I liked the actors. I enjoyed seeing them in peril. Okay. But yeah, it won't hold up much longer.
No.
but
No.
that second one really like brought it down a lot.
So stupid. So dumb.
Yeah. Have you seen The Fury?
Not Fury.
The Fury, starring Kirk Douglas and John Cassavetes from 1978, directed by Brian De Palma.
Did Kirk Douglas have a scene without a shirt on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's like 60 in that movie.
I know. He for like decades, like that was always in his contract.
He might be like 59, but he looks so fucking old. And I'm like, his son is like, he has like a 17 or 18-year-old son. And I'm like, when did he have this kid?
Yes.
I don't know.
I know.
It was a lot of fun. And I feel like I had seen the last like 30 seconds of that movie on like some clip from like, you won't believe this ending. And I'm like, but then I watched it and I literally like sat up in my bed and gave that ending a round of applause. I was so pleased by it. It was so good.
All right.
Fury. You know where you can find that?
No, The Fury. Fury's a different movie.
The Fury.
The Fury.
You can watch it on Stars.
Not Fury. Not Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I don't have Stars.
No, not Nick Fury.
Not Nick Fury. And not the Tank movie. Okay. Well, we'll go on in, Joe.